Hello there. Today, let's leave the big cities behind and explore America's quiet, forgotten corners. Places you won't find in most travel guides. These remote towns move to their own rhythm, shaped by the land and the seasons. Here, beauty and resilience are found in weathered storefronts, friendly waves, and stories shared over coffee. Buckle up. We're heading deep into the heartland to meet the people who call these hidden places home. Our first stop is Supai, Arizona. So remote you can't even drive there. Nestled deep in the Grand Canyon, Supai is home to the havasupai tribe, where mail still arrives by mule and life follows the canyon's ancient rhythms. Here, isolation preserves tradition, and the soundscape is wind, water, and the clip-clop of hooves. Visiting Supai is stepping back in time, witnessing a community thriving because of its remoteness. Now, we head north to McCarthy, Alaska, where the road ends and wilderness begins. Reached by a rough 60-mile dirt road, McCarthy is a haven for adventurers and artists who embrace isolation. Once a copper mining boomtown, today only a few dozen remain, living self-reliant lives surrounded by glaciers and peaks. Winters are harsh, supplies are distant, but the sense of community is strong. Here, you don't just live near nature, you're part of it. McCarthy is a tiny human footprint in a vast, untamed land. From Alaska's wilds to Nebraska's plains, we find Monowi, a town of one. Elsie Eiler is mayor, clerk, and tavern owner, keeping Monowi's spirit alive. Once a thriving farm town, Monowi faded as residents left, but Elsie remains, welcoming travelers and locals alike. She pays taxes to herself and grants her own liquor license. Monowi is a testament to rural perseverance, proof that as long as someone keeps the light on, a place endures. Next, Beaufort, Wyoming, once the nation's smallest town, perched at 8,000 feet. For years, Don Salmons was its only resident, running the gas station and store. Beaufort's story began with the railroad, peaked at 2,000 people, then dwindled to one. The town was auctioned off and briefly rebranded, but its essence remains, a tiny outpost on a vast, windswept plain. Even the smallest places have stories etched by time and tenacity. Back to Alaska, this time to Whittier, where nearly everyone lives in one building. Begich Towers houses almost the entire town, with a post office, store, clinic, and school all under one roof. Accessible only by a one-lane tunnel, Whittier is a self-contained vertical community. Here, neighbors are floormates, and the wilderness is just outside the door. Whittier is a unique blend of isolation and togetherness. Deep in Idaho's Nez Perce National Forest lies Elk City, a haven for those seeking true solitude. Reached by winding mountain roads, Elk City is surrounded by millions of acres of wilderness. Founded in a gold rush, it's now home to hunters, loggers, and those who cherish quiet. Life here follows the seasons, and neighbors rely on each other. Elk City is proof that a simple wild life still thrives. In Wyoming, 10 Sleep sits at the foot of the Bighorn Mountains, named for the 10 sleeps between encampments. It's a mecca for rock climbers and a postcard of small-town America. The scenic drive through 10 Sleep Canyon reveals stunning vistas and a classic Main Street. Ranchers and climbers share a love for the land and community. In 10 Sleep, you're humbled by the grandeur of the West. Now to Oatman, Arizona, a former gold town where wild burros roam the streets. When the mines closed, the burros stayed, becoming the town's main attraction. Tourists come for the burros, wooden sidewalks, and staged shootouts. Oatman blurs the line between wilderness and civilization. Here, history and wildlife create a one-of-a-kind experience. Grafton, Utah is a beautifully preserved ghost town near Zion National Park. Founded by Mormon pioneers, it faced floods and isolation, leaving behind haunting adobe houses and a schoolhouse. A few families remain as caretakers, keeping history alive. Grafton's story is one of perseverance and memory. It's a place where echoes of the past linger in the desert air. Not all remote towns are shaped by geography, some by disaster. Centralia, Pennsylvania has been burning underground since 1962, after a coal mine fire. Once home to over 1,000, most residents left as the ground cracked and smoked. A handful refused to leave, living atop a subterranean inferno. Centralia is a haunting reminder of the ties people have to home, even as it disappears. The fire may burn for centuries, but the story endures. In West Texas, Terlingua is part ghost town, part artist colony. Once a mercury mining hub, it was reborn by artists and free spirits drawn to the desert's stark beauty. The annual chili cook-off draws crowds, but the real magic is found on the Starlight Theater porch, where music and sunsets rule. Terlingua proves a town doesn't need many people to have soul. It's a haven for the independent and the creative. Hanksville, Utah, feels like another planet, surrounded by surreal desert landscapes. It's a gateway to Capitol Reef, Goblin Valley, and the Mars Desert Research Station. Residents are hardy, living on the edge of wilderness and wonder. Hanksville is a little piece of Mars, right here on Earth. Chitina, Alaska, sits at the edge of Wrangell-St. Elias National Park, where the road ends and wilderness begins. With around 100 residents, life here revolves around the river and the salmon runs. Summer brings a rush of fishermen, but the rest of the year is quiet and deeply connected to the land. Chitina's history is alive in its buildings and traditions. It's a place where the modern world fades into the wild. Imagine a town with no cell service or Wi-Fi. Welcome to Greenbank, West Virginia. Here, radio silence is enforced to protect a giant telescope listening to the universe. Residents use landlines and talk face-to-face, living in a paradox of futuristic science and old-fashioned quiet. The town attracts those seeking relief from modern technology. Greenbank reminds us of the value of silence, and what we might hear if we listen. High in Colorado's San Juan Mountains, Silverton is a former mining town accessible by a single dramatic highway. Avalanches can cut it off in winter, preserving its historic Main Street and Victorian buildings. The Durango and Silverton steam train brings visitors, but when it leaves, Silverton returns to its quiet, close-knit roots. Here, history and mountain beauty go hand in hand. Silverton is a living relic of the Old West. Jarbidge, Nevada, defines remote, no paved roads, just dirt tracks through rugged canyons. Once a gold rush town, only a few dozen fiercely independent residents remain. Life here means self-reliance, with power often self-generated and help far away. The silence is broken only by wind and river. Jarbidge is for those who truly want to leave the modern world behind. In the Texas hills, Luckenbach is legendary. Population 3, but a state of mind. With a dance hall, general store, and a storied music scene, it's a haven for songwriters and dreamers. Founded by German immigrants, it became famous thanks to Willie Nelson and Waylon Jennings. Here, music and community matter more than size. Luckenbach proves that heart and soul can fill even the tiniest town. St. Elmo, Colorado, is a ghost town frozen in time, high in the Sawatch Range. Once a bustling mining supply town, it emptied almost overnight when the boom ended. A few residents remain, preserving its remarkably intact wooden buildings. Walking its main street is like stepping into the past. St. Elmo is history you can touch, kept alive by dedication and memory. Deep in Alaska's interior, Manly Hot Springs offers a warm reward at the end of a long, rough road. Founded around natural hot springs, it's a tiny community where soaking in mineral-rich water is a way of life. The original hotel is gone, but the springs remain the heart of town. Residents value privacy, self-reliance, and the simple pleasures of the wild. Manly is a welcoming haven in the cold north. Our final stop is New Amsterdam, Indiana, a tiny town on the Ohio River with just one official resident. Once a bustling port, floods and time left it nearly empty, but a handful still cherish its peace. There are no stores or traffic lights, just the river, the forest, and deep history. New Amsterdam is a reminder that beauty can be found in quiet places. Sometimes, the most profound towns are the ones that let you simply watch the river flow by. And so, our journey ends. We've explored America's hidden corners and met the people who keep their stories alive. If you enjoyed this adventure, consider subscribing to help us keep exploring. Share this with a friend who loves a good story or a hidden road. Until next time, keep wondering where that road might lead.